Miami. Brandon, I'll go to you first. Tua is now the official starter for the Miami Dolphins. Is that a shock to you?
Yeah, it is. Why would you pull the hot hand when you have a chance of? It's not like they're that far down the pole, It's like I legitimately see the Dolphins of having a chance to win the division this year, like the way they're playing. I just think it's ridiculous, and it's like I get it that you want to, give the young guy confidence and yada yada yada, but like this was Fitzpatrick's team this year. Like it wasn't Tua's team; it's Fitzpatrick's team. Tua gets to have his year next year. Honestly, I think Tua's gonna suck because Tua, frankly, he can be as good of a quarterback as he wants. But just based upon statistics, rookie quarterbacks usually don't do very well. So,
Shane, your thoughts on Tua starting?
Yeah, I think this is pretty much the worst coaching decision of the entire NFL all year this year. No, seriously, I do. I really don't understand it at all. When I saw that, obviously Tua played a bit at the end of that Jets game, which
he played
I
one
would have
series.
Put him in. Yeah, I would have put him in there too, even just to, because they weren't going to lose at that point. So it's like, just get him in there, get him some snaps in the game, whatever. And then next week we're back at it with Fitz doing our thing. Great. But no, then they say, okay, we're going to start him out. Like, why? Okay, you're on a winning streak. If Fitzpatrick is finally on a somewhat decent team that's actually winning, starting for them, by the way, and they're doing good, and they're like, yeah, sorry, we're gonna bench you for this rookie who, like Brandon said, is probably gonna suck, I think. And you could just see how emotional he was about it. I feel so bad for Fitzpatrick. I really do. This guy, he stayed with that team and gave it his all last year when they were terrible. And this year he stuck with them and he did all. And then, this is just like a slap in the face for all of that.
Yep.
Now, when they're finally doing good, I feel like, honestly, a large part due to him, they're saying, nope, we're going to go to this rookie. We have no idea how he's going to do.
So
here's your middle finger.
So I started to think about this more as the days went on, and the more I started to figure out why they did this decision. And optically, it's horrible. I am not denying that. Fitzpatrick has played tremendously well, considering the circumstances, and he's done great. But the more I think about it, I don't think it was right for him for Tua to start this week. No, I think optically it would have made more sense if Fitzpatrick is going to have a bad game, which we know he would have at some point. Then you could put Tua in. Optically, it's bad, but the more I looked at it as the days went on, the more I was like, oh, I get what Brian Flores is doing. And credit Ryan Shazier on the Ringer NFL show, and he was talking about this decision, and I started to understand why. Because if you look at that roster offensively, you got Devontae Parker, you got Preston Williams, you got Myles Gaskin, who's been playing out of his mind recently. This offense is very young. And giving this offense, along with Tua, who's going to be their future, the ability to grow together as a unit. When Miami knows they're not going to win a Super Bowl this year, Ryan Shazier talked about this exact same thing. They know they're not going to win a Super Bowl this year. They might win the division, sure, but they know they're not going to win a Super Bowl. Yes, optically it looks bad, but in terms of this offense, I think Flores started to realize after that first series, like, I kind of want this group to grow together, and I think that's what ultimately set him to make this decision. It was like, okay, here's the young quarterback that we have. Regardless if he struggles or not, let's get him some experience and let's help this still very young offensive core build together. And obviously, not to mention Mike Gesicki as well, not to forget him. That is why I think he made the decision ultimately. Because I think this offense is so young, and to give it a shot to grow together as a unit is better for them long term when they realize they're not going to win a Super Bowl this year. That's how I feel about it.
Well, yes, that makes. Yes, I think you're right. That is, I would imagine why they are doing it. But I just don't. I don't know. I still don't agree with it personally.
I'm not saying I necessarily agree with the decision, but I understand where Flores is coming from. Because inevitably, I'm sorry, at this point, inevitably Fitzpatrick was going to have a bad game down the road anyway. This is how Fitzpatrick plays. It's just what it is. I love Fitzpatrick, but that's just what it is. That's how his seasons go normally. It's not about getting ahead of that. I think it's just about, hey, let's just give this young guy a shot. And it won't. I'm not saying it will be pretty. There's a shot it could be, though. Herbert's played well, and I think, Flores knows how to work with a young quarterback. There's a shot this could go well, but for me, I the more I sat there and thought about it, and credit Ryan Shazier, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, okay, this makes sense. Optically, it's horrible. It is. But it makes sense why you would make this decision now rather than in a few weeks when Fitzpatrick could potentially have a bad game.